So Matthew, sorry, I couldn't resist. It took a lot to hide that too.
I was going to say,
that
was well done. I felt like I was getting ready to be interviewed by that guy, that theater guy, you know. So tell us about your childhood.
Yes, I'm James Lipton.
I'm James Lipton, here at the Papa Studio, in which more than thousands of aspiring actors have trained. So you have to do something like with the head.
So Matthew, you are on the morning of your ordination.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the morning of your ordination. Tell
Yes.
me what you're feeling right now. What's going through your head?
Wow, it's so much happening at once. There is excitement. There is a little bit of an element of terror, a fear of. But I think probably what I'm really feeling most strongly is a sense of gratitude. I am being joined today by people that I love on many, many levels, and who have been part of my life and of this journey and being a friar and so many other things. A lot of them are here with me today, and that brings me an incredible sense of calm. But it also makes me realize how important as church what we do is, and how our life as friars really does have meaning to people, and that it is something that they see the preciousness of. And so it is a celebration. It's a celebration of a lot of years of work for me and for the brothers who have supported me. But I think more than that, it's a celebration of our life. And how as friars we come together, we support one another, and make it all happen.
Well, so it sounds to me like this is not just a beginning, but rather a continuation of a journey that you've been on.
Very much so. Because when this began, the whole idea of vocation really, I think, began with the idea of, well, I think I'm called to be a priest. But then, first thing I thought was, well, I'm in my 40s, there's no way that can happen. But I began to do some exploration and to do some questioning, and what I realized in that process was that I very much wanted companions in the journey. And fairly early on, I had gone to this website for Franciscans, and I indicated that I might have an interest in a vocation. And I was contacted by Jim Kent, who at that time was our vocations director. And I came here. I sat on this same front porch talking to him maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And I had no real idea what it meant to be Franciscan. I had no real idea what it would mean to be in community. I really had no idea what it would mean to be a priest either. But the beauty of it is that somehow I knew I was home. And I knew in this life that home would happen in a lot of places, because we mendicants, we move around, we live our lives in community in many different places. But I knew as I sat in this same rocker that this is where God wanted me to be. And so there's then, with that, as you noted about it, it's not a beginning, because really my becoming a priest now is really an extension of what it means to be friar. That's who I am. I am a friar. And that part to me is really, really precious. And I feel really grateful for the fact that you and my other brothers have looked to me and said, we think you would make a good priest. And so that's why I am moving on to this next level, is because I do it as part of it.
Tell me how, you spoke of being a friar and being a priest, and so to you and I, we're in habits, that is very clear what that means. But tell me in your own words, when you understand what it is to be a priest and to be a friar, how they work together, how there's not a distinction like I'm a priest first and a friar second, but then I'm a priest friar.
I think that's grounded for me in realizing that we are all, as baptized Christians, we are all part of the priesthood of the faithful. And then how God calls each one of us to live that out will be a little bit different. But I think I have to go back to the history and the man who created our order, who was a visionary, probably a little quirky, just a little. And But he realized very much that there was a need for a new voice within the church and a new way of living out the faith that would be very much in line with what the bigger church would do. But then all these people began to follow him. And really without any kind of planning, he created this order that in the beginning had no priests. It was strictly brothers. And they lived together, they worked together, they prayed together. And that's our foundation. So for me, again, this becomes more like an extension of that same way of living this life. That I look at you first and foremost, as I do with everyone in my community, as my brother, as another friar. And each one of us are joined together, not just because we wear this habit, but because we have made a commitment to serving people, to serving the church, to serving one another, to loving each other as brothers. And that's beautiful. And I think that has a real impact then on the kind of priests we become, because we know we have the support of our community. We know we have the support of the people in the parish. And we seem to come from a way of looking at church that puts a real emphasis on the body of Christ and how we as a community lift one another up and how we experience Christ in one another in all forms of the incarnation.
Fabulous, fabulous. Just one more question. What are you looking forward to most today? Besides the supper.
Well, there's always that. Yeah. I'm a friar. We are called many things, but never late for dinner.
Yes,
but
exactly right.
I think what I'm hoping will happen, and I think it's already happening. About a year ago, I took solemn vows as a friar, and there was a point during that ceremony in which I just kind of paused and looked around, and I realized I am so blessed. And I looked at the friars, and I thought, these are the men who have walked before me. These are the men who will walk with me. And in a very real way, at the same time, there were friends and family and other people there that I realized we all walk together. And so I'm feeling that now. And I think there's just that desire to hang on to that because it's a really precious thing. And I think we can draw a lot of strength from that, of knowing how we are connected.